Okay, some of the questions I'm going to ask you is just, were you drafted or did you enlist?
I was drafted.
And what year was that?
Oh, oh my gosh. 19, seemed like it was 1943. I'm not sure. Somewhere along about then. Let's see. I was born 25, so 20 years later would make it what?
45?
Anyway, you can ask the questions. I'll try to answer it best of my knowledge.
Okay. Where were you living?
Where was I from? Seemed to me like at that time I was living at Mount Enterprise, in East Texas. We moved so many times. It seemed like it was in East Texas there. Oh, where in the heck? Gary Marshall. Somewhere around Marshall. But I can't, my memory's so bad, I can't tell you exactly where where it was.
What branch did you? What branch of the service did you enlist
It was
in?
the Army, 36th Division, the anti-tank company, and my assignment was a telephone lineman. We would run lines up to the troops wherever they might be, and switchboard operator and different things like that.
What made you want to do the Army over? What made you enlist for the Army instead of something else?
Why I went into the Army? I was drafted into
Oh, you
the
were
Army.
Do you remember your first days in service
First day?
or the first few days?
Oh my goodness. We went the first day, of course, we had physicals, stripped down, practically naked, and had physicals. And different questions they would ask us. But that's been so many years ago.
Do you remember what it felt like?
What?
Do you remember what it felt like to be drafted in?
What it felt like? Well, I didn't resent being in there. I was drafted into the Army, and I stayed in the reserves for years and years and years.
He missed his girlfriend.
I had, you might say what, if you want to call it active duty, 20 some odd years. But counting the reserves that I was not active in anything, I had over 30 years.
Do you remember your boot camp or any training experiences?
What do you remember me telling you where I don't even, seemed like maybe it was probably Fort Sam, I'm not sure. But we're talking about years and years ago.
Do you remember any instructors?
What?
Do you remember any of your instructors or your buddies? Do you remember any instructors that you had? Instructors?
Structure?
Instructors.
And instructors?
Teacher.
No, I don't remember their names. We had some staff sergeant over us or something like that.
Okay. Which wars did you serve in?
What?
Which wars did you serve
Which
in?
war? World War II.
Okay.
And I believe I was back in during the Korean conflict too.
Where did you go in World War II?
Where did I go? I went with went to the 36th Division anti-tank company, and first I went to England, then across into France, and into Germany.
Do you remember what it was like arriving there?
What?
Do you remember what it was like arriving over there?
Like what? Like it?
Do you remember what it was like when you arrived there?
What? I
When,
didn't.
when you flew in to Germany, or do you remember what it was like when you arrived there?
When I arrived there,
Uh-huh.
well,
When you got
like I say, we went to England and we went right on across into, I think the area they call that Alsace-Lorraine or something like that. And I just followed the instructions.
What was your job assignment there?
A field lineman, run telephone lines.
Right.
Switchboard operator. Main thing wasn't, I could operate switchboard, but the main thing, I was a field lineman, that I'd run telephone lines.
Did you see any combat?
I didn't actually, I was in a combat area, and I had my rifle and everything, but I don't remember, I didn't actually shoot anybody in there, but I remember capturing, they just give up they were giving up, and I escorted them back to the back.
Were there any casualties in your unit?
Yeah, I lost a buddy or two. It was in it a little further than I was, in other words, where the shooting was taking place. It seemed to me like most of the casualties was from mortar shells coming in and exploding. And it was pretty terrible. I did not get wounded whatsoever.
Do you have any most memorable experiences?
Anyone?
Do you have any memorable experiences from that time? Do you have any experiences that were real memorable?
Anything that I remember real well, you mean?
Yeah, anything that stands out?
Seemed to me like what I remember that I had run a telephone line up through the enemy was pretty near. And also, I remember we was just, I think, pulled into a village there and had a little action that we captured some German guys. They were willing to give up. That was we went into Alsace-Lorraine and then on into Germany. But that was back in 44 or something like that, 43, 44.
Were you ever a prisoner of war?
What?
Were you ever a prisoner of war?
No, I never was a prisoner of war. I remember one time, it was very interesting, the Germans was just on the other side of a railroad track into some buildings, and these two guys went out looking for schnapps. Yes, if you know what schnapps is, that's a drink like a liquor.
Mm.
And they went into this warehouse, and there was some 2 or 3 German soldiers that they give themselves up, and they brought them back in, and they asked the company commander asked this guy. There was 2 of them. One of them was an old East Texas hillbilly, and the other one was from the Bronx. Asked him just how come you captured those guys? And this one guy started to say we went out to look for some liquor, in other words. This other stopped us. He says, well, sir, you wanted a prisoner, so we went over there and got you a prisoner out of that building. And they give both of them an award, both of the guys, for capturing these guys. I don't know whether it's 1, 2, or 3 or what, but they made this guy from the Bronx. He made a big deal out of it. They went out to capture somebody for them to interrogate, so we brought him back.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
What?
How did you stay in touch with family when you were overseas? How did you stay in touch with family members when you were overseas?
How did I contact my family?
Yeah.
We had mail through, postal service, and kept in touch with them.
Do you remember what the food was like?
What?
The food? Do you remember what the food was like?
The food? Well, at times, according to where we was at, we had good rations. And very seldom did I had to use C rations. C rations was what you carried with you more or less when you went into combat. But we had shot. I was with, like I say, I was with the 36th Division Anti-Tank Company. I wasn't a guy that got up there with a gun, and seemed to me like some of the guys there captured some German soldiers.
Did you feel any pressure of stress? Did you feel stressed while you were over there?
Was I drafted?
Were you stressed?
Of stress? I don't remember it really bothered me too much. See, the duties I had wasn't as bad as being up there on the front lines with a rifle.
Did you have anything special for good luck?
For what?
For good luck?
For good luck?
Ask him if he carried
I
anything
guess
special.
it's trusting in the Lord. Take care of
Figured
it.
he might have had something in his pocket.
How did people entertain themselves?
What?
How did y'all entertain yourself there?
How did we entertain ourselves? Oh, we'd get together and have a kind of a party like, and some of the guys would put on a show and act, and maybe we would get together and sing.
What did y'all do when you were on leave?
What?
What did y'all do while you were on leave? While you were on leave, what did y'all do? When y'all were on leave, did y'all get leave?
On leave? Was we on leave or anything? No, they didn't let you out on leave.
Oh, okay. Where all did you travel while you? Where all did you travel while you were in the service?
Well, we went into, I think they called the place Alsace-Lorraine. Went into Germany, France rather, and we just traveled up through France into Germany.
You told me one story about the Snops, but were there anything humorous or special events?
What?
Do you remember anything humorous or a special event?
Something that was funny or something?
Yeah.
Oh, let me see. I really don't remember anything really funny. Like I said, we entertained ourselves and all, but I don't. Maybe we had what do you call these? Entertainers come over, and they would entertain us. like USO or something like that.
Bob Hope, or did Bob Hope ever go over there? Bob Hope was probably too young, wasn't he?
I couldn't.
Bob Hope.
Bob Hope.
He was too young probably then, or
I'm trying to think of who did come over there. We had guys, you know, that did come in all right. Not necessarily about Bob Hope, but I can't remember their names.
yeah.
That's too many years ago.
Did you take photographs while you were over there?
Yeah, I took a photographs. I don't think I got any now. I don't see any on the wall.
What did you think of your fellow soldiers?
The fellow soldiers, well, some of them I could trust, and some of them I couldn't trust. Some of them would, for instance, some of them liked to beat up on the prisoners, and I didn't believe in that. In other words, they're prisoners of war, and they shouldn't abuse them.
Mm-hmm. Did you keep any kind of a journal or a diary?
What?
Did you keep any kind of a diary or a journal or writings?
I don't believe I did, because if I wrote, we just had a pack, you might say. If I wrote anything, I couldn't keep it with me.
Do you remember the day that your service ended?
The day that it service seemed to me like it pops in my mind something about the 7th of May or something of that. I don't. You mean when the war ended?
Well, more generally when your service ended.
When I got out.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see if you're warm. You okay?
I guess it's passed my mind, but it was. I believe I was discharged from Fort Cham, Houston, and I went into the reserves. I've been in the Army Reserves, Navy Reserves, and retired from Air Force Reserves. So far as you might see years of active duty, it was something like 20 years, but maybe it was just on weekend trainings and all. But I was in the reserves, inactive for quite a while. It seemed to me like I had 20 years, good years of reserve duty, including active duty, and just being in the reserve, it mounted up to subject to call, about 30 years.
Okay.
I draw pensions from the military.
Did you work once you got out?
When I got out,
Or did you go to school?
yeah, I went to work I believe at Kelly Field.
Not when you first got
What?
out, though.
What did she say?
When you first got out, what did you
When I
do?
first got out, was I at Marshall? Yeah, I was at Marshall, okay.
And what did you do there? What did you do there?
Chase the girls.
What?
What did you do at Marshall?
What did I do? I had a job there at Marshall. I worked for the R.G. Ford Tank Company, didn't I? Yeah.
After we married.
I made big propane tanks. One of them there was, I don't know, 9 feet in diameter and something like 150 feet long, and they put butane in it, and that's where I lost my hearing, working inside those tanks and people hitting them and such as that. It damaged my hearing.
Did you make any close friends while you were in the service?
Oh yeah,
Do you continue to be friends with them?
Bonnie's brother was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I met her. Yeah, I had a lot of good friends in the Army.
Do you still keep in contact with anybody?
What?
Are you still in contact with any of them?
Bonnie, have I contacted any of them? I don't think I have. It's been years.
Are you a member of any veteran organization?
What?
Are you a member of any of the veteran
Into the
clubs?
service?
No, right now. Are you a member of like the
I didn't get what you said.
What
Like
is
the
it?
VA,
VA?
VFW.
Are you a member of the VFW or anything like that?
He has.
Are you a member of the VFW?
Yeah, I'm a member of VFW, and what about American? I believe VFW is one, Veterans Foreign Wars.
Mm-hmm. And what was your career after the war? What did you do for a career?
Welding.
Welding. Did your military experience influence the way you thought about the war or the military?
I'm sure it did.
Have you attended any reunions?
What?
Have you attended any reunions, military
Any
reunions?
of the reunions? I don't believe we've had any reunions.
How did your service affect your life?
Well, I guess I enjoyed traveling and everything. Seeing Europe. Went to Europe. I went to the Philippine Islands. I have went about 2/3 of the way around the world. But I was born about 25 miles from Louisiana, and I went to about 2/3 around the world before I went over in Louisiana.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share that we haven't covered?
What?
Is there anything else you wanted to share about your service that we haven't talked about?
Well, I don't regret being in the service. In fact, I have spent time, as I believe I may have already stated, in the Navy Reserves, Army Reserves, and I'm retired from the Air Force Reserve. So I do have, military, a lot of military experience, and I'm a retired Master Sergeant from the Air Force, and I don't regret my military time at all. I met all kinds of people, little people and big people. In the Philippine Islands, they have the Negrito. That's a small Negro. He's about 4 feet tall, and it's a race of people. I got pictures of them. In fact, I don't know where they're at now, but I got them. So I was tied up with the military quite a bit, and Europe and the Philippine Islands. And let's see, I'm not sure I went to Guam, seemed like, but anyway, I spent time in the Philippines.
Okay, well, I think that's all the questions I have.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for doing it.